Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
Yeah, we're back. We haven't recorded in a good bit. I think the last
you.
thing we did was, I know what you did last summer, but like that was an audio episode. It wasn't like a legit, like, Bloody Judy video shindig.
Yeah, it's been like a full fucking month, Zachary.
I know, it's been a bit. The last things we were doing were they Halloween? I feel like we are going from slasher to slasher to slasher. So as soon as like Scream comes out, we're going to ditch the slashers for a little bit and start exploring other kind of realms of horror. Because I'm a little slashered out, I have to be honest.
Mean, we have done other things. Like, I feel like, I think our last non-slasher was St. Maud, and that's like very much not in that vein.
Yeah, I guess.
But also that was a while ago.
That was a while ago. It was a good bit ago. But today we are going to be talking about the Chucky the TV series. Yeah, so that was the thing that happened over the past... How many episodes was this? 8 episodes?
8,
yeah. So 8 weeks. 8 episodes. What do you think about it, Ian?
I think I loved it overall. And like, it really hooked me from the start as like a really good like horror show. But I will say I was a little like, by the time it ended.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same sort of boat. I think.
Wait, ring a bell. We agree.
I know we need a bell. We need one. I feel like they did a really good job setting up like a whole cast of new characters. These new like kids who were like pretty likable.
Yeah.
Even Lexi, who I was ready for her to fucking die, and I was so excited for her death. And by the end, I really like her. You know, she's good. But I feel like when they started introducing legacy characters, it got really messy, and I understand the madness they were going for, but it was a little like jarring at times and a little like hokey. But Chucky's hokey then, you know. So I guess
I know. That's where I go with it. I'm like, because I do agree, but I'm like, but that is how those movies are hokey, and Chucky himself is so ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, Chucky didn't start out hokey, right? Like, we had the Child's Play series, which took Chucky very seriously. They were trying to make him like this scary fucking doll. So it feels like a season that's sort of blending the two. Like, they try to maybe at the first half make it a little bit more horror, second half more horror comedy. I do have to say I was very bummed out we didn't get a Glenn and Glenda cameo anywhere. I know they're like... I was expecting a setup for that for season 2, at least. But we didn't even get Glenn and Glenda.
I mean, they did at least, like... They mentioned them, like, at the top and at the end. So I feel like season 2, which was announced, like, the other day, we'll see that.
We better. It'll be the end of season 2, going into season 3. I don't know how many seasons they can do this stuff. I guess it's one thing I really give it credit for is like sticking with its madness, right? I guess by this finale, spoiler warning, by the way, by this finale, we've got a whole army of Chuckies now ready to be like dispatched. And, you know, if you're going to go with it. And I appreciate that they're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, again, you saw the other ones, right? The ones that were put on Netflix. I didn't see those, but I know from like what you told me and Laz and like other like friends who saw them, that's kind of how those movies end, right? The Army of Chuckies.
Because there were only 2 of them, and it's I know it's like a few Chuckies that are like out there. I don't remember how many there were, but like by the end of this series, we've got 72 out and ready to go, and we got so let's kind of go into different elements of it, right?
Sure.
So we've got our setup and our main like sort of cast of preteens, I guess. How old are they supposed to be? Like 13? They're not 14 yet, are they?
I think like 14, 15. I think that's
okay. And we've got like a main gay character. I thought that was so cool. Like Jake is I like him. I think he was pretty likable. And then
I was like, when I was finishing it, and I was like, because spoiler, I just finished this right before recording. I finished it like 5 minutes ago. I really was like, I wonder if Zach likes this kid. And then I was like, oh, he's like a young version of me. So like, I like him somewhat at least.
I don't know. He looked, I had that mop hairdo. at that same age. So he reminded me a little bit of myself. But so like the rest of the characters kind of build up from him, right? We've got him, his dad at the beginning, but his dad's not, there for more than an episode. And then he's got his uncle and his family. So his uncle's family's got Junior, the cousin that we kind of get introduced to, the Junior's mom. I forgot her name. Yeah, Junior's girlfriend Lexi, and Devin is Jake's romantic interest for the show. I really like that. They're cute. They're a cute little like something. They're not taking them too seriously. This kid's got like a podcast. It was weird that this kid has at first I thought that Jake had the podcast, and then I guess we get introduced to this like Devin's got this true crime podcast where he talks about all this stuff in Hackensack and like the Lakeside Strangler, whatever it is. Yeah, and I thought that whole setup was really good and kind of like giving life to a town and a school, and it's like a perfect way to kind of reintroduce the Chucky doll. I don't know. What do you think about the sort of ties to the rest of them?
Well, wait.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you what you think I think of it.
Well, obviously you're okay with it, but like in what, because Ian doesn't like a retcon, right? So he likes if they just stick with it and they kind of use what they have. But what do you think? How do you think they did with that?
I think they did a good job. I think while it a little bit did fall apart for me, but not completely, just like I didn't love the end, but it didn't like, it's not like it fell apart totally. I didn't like hate it. It just, I think it almost felt, I think I said this about Ghostbusters. I don't remember if I said it to you or just on the recording I did, but like Ghostbusters almost felt like the first hour and a half were a really good movie. And then the last half hour with all the stuff that was like, remember the movies? These are all the things from the movies. It felt like something separate. And sometimes Chucky felt that way because the legacy characters were so separate from the like teens that were the main characters. I wish there had been a better way to incorporate, like they only Andy only interacted with our main character Jake like on the phone and from afar.
There could have been a much better way to like sort of fold them all in and like mesh them all together, because at first we get the sort of seeds of like, other Chucky dolls being out there and Andy Barclay's like telephone number and they call him and, we get all of that from like the hospital, right? We get that like pretty mid-season and then they don't really like go for it. Like at that point, I feel like Andy should have kind of shown up, come to town because it would have made sense. But then we get like Andy and Kyle's whole like journey to Hackensack, and it's just kind of messy. It's weird when he gets to Hackensack. He's got like the confrontation with like Chucky and Junior, and it's weird. It's a weird sort of folding in.
I also still don't understand why he left her at the gas station. Like I genuinely,
it didn't make sense either. Yeah, so Andy leaves Kyle at the gas station. I guess I do love these actors. Nobody has to be a good actor. Everybody in this show, I do love everybody. I think maybe the expressions on his face were kind of like not really clear that it was supposed to be like him doing it out of love, right? Because he was so like expressionless, kind of.
Well, but also they had already hunted, like he says in the car that there's only one Chucky doll left. So it's like, at that point, why are you leaving her? Like you already killed all the rest of them.
It was weird, man. It was weird because he just leaves her there. I feel like it's her car too. And like it might be her car, but then she ends up in Hackensack anyway. Like I don't like a thing like that where like if we're gonna leave her, like she's gotta be out of the game now, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's gotta be
and I thought that's what was gonna happen. Like she's out of the game.
And so I guess like these are two legacy characters that are good to kind of go into. Like Andy is already, they kind of reintroduced him in the Netflix movies. And I like that he seems like really out of touch with everything, this is almost, because we get our different sort of legacy characters that come back. And we see how they sort of act, Laurie Strode, she comes back and she's like ready to hunt and stuff like that. And they all kind of do that, but he's even more so a little bit more realistic in that he's just weird. Like it would have made sense that he would have grown up into this weird kind of guy who doesn't really act like he has any social skills or anything, and probably the only thing on his mind is this fucking Chucky doll. Makes
Which
total
makes sense. Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense. Whereas like, so that was a little bit more realistic. Where like Laurie Strode is a little bit more of a heightened version of something like that. You know, it's a little bit more theatrical. So I did like how they did Andy.
I'm listening to what you're saying, Zachary.
I know. I love a Laurie Strode. I can criticize. And then Kyle, I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of her backstory because they were foster brother and sister from the second movie, but we don't really know what she's been up to in this whole time. Like, did she ever get married? I feel like she would have gone off and like kind of had her own little spiral at some point, you know?
Well, wasn't she? Is she not in the Netflix movies?
No, I don't think so. I think she's in. I think she's either referenced or we see her very, very briefly in the second Netflix movie. But like, even without Chucky showing up into her life, she was already on track to like spiral a little bit. So I kind of wanted to know what happened to her in the meantime. But we just check in with them, and they've just the only clues that we were hinted in on is that they're hunting Chucky dolls together, right? And then in the last episode, she opens the front door and the house explodes, and I guess Andy got away, but like she didn't get away, did she? Like there's no hint of that, is there?
I really didn't like that. really didn't like that, but I do think that hand was hers on the tree watching the kids.
Oh,
because it was an adult hand. It wasn't a
I
toy
didn't
hand
know.
or doll
I
hand.
hope it's not going to be a Halloween 5 man with the silver-toed boots. Like it could just be that guy, that sort of thing. I hope they have a plan with this because it could be her. But I feel like we would have seen her. I feel like we would have seen her though. Like it's got to be somebody. So we've got a couple people missing still. We've got Glenn and Glenda. There's some theories out there that I've seen people talking about that the science teacher is Glenda, which wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to me because I did the math and I think they're supposed to be like 17 years old. They're not supposed to be very old. But if because she was watching them at the end also, and that was a little weird. So and she's a redhead, curly hair.
I assumed that she had adopted Devin because like she's like, let's go.
Oh, did she?
That's what I thought.
Maybe. Oh, maybe then. Yeah. I don't know. It could have been Kyle, but I feel like they're setting that up to be like a surprise character or something. Maybe a Glenda, showing up, something. That was a little weird. But yeah, so we've got those two, Kyle and Andy, and they kind of like, they serve their purpose, I guess. I just wish it would have been done in a little bit better of a way because I didn't find myself really rooting for them all that much, and I feel like I should have.
I think what would have been better is kind of what you said. Like they should have been there. If we're going to have their journey, they should have been from episode 1 on their way. And then that way they could have gotten to Hackensack episode 3 or 4 and like just been there. We just didn't spend enough time. It was weird to bring back like the legacy characters from the franchise and kind of only have them in the last 3 episodes. I guess it's like to give room to the other characters, but it just made it feel so like, well, what are we doing? Because they didn't do anything. They didn't help.
Yeah. I feel like it could have been, because we could have seen everybody a little bit from the beginning and like their own little pockets of story. And it could have added up to an overall story because then we get Tiffany and Charles Lee Ray, who's in his daughter's body, and it's like it's just fucking weird, man. It's weird. And they kind of pop up. Would you say halfway through the season? What episode do they pop up in? It's
I think
4 or 5.
Yeah, I think they popped up in 4. I think.
Yeah. And I was super excited to see Jennifer Tilly, and I had to she had to grow on me a little bit because I didn't like her at first. In this, I was kind of like she was a little bit too like Susie Homemaker, but like in Bride of Chucky she's this like goth punk girl, and then in Seed of Chucky she's a Hollywood actor, so I guess it made more sense. But I did by the end really appreciate that we're kind of seeing her descent into madness. She's getting crazier and crazier every time we see her. I did not like their flashbacks. I did up to a certain point, and then they got weird with the whole voiceover, and they again a little bit too hokey for me.
It didn't bother me, but I didn't like love them, but I didn't hate them.
Yeah,
I also didn't know that we needed them. We
didn't need them because I think their relationship has always been pretty clear. just through dialogue. It's one of those things where it doesn't really need to be seen. It could just be told, because we've gotten that. We got that in the Bride of Chucky movie, and it's carried this long. We didn't see any flashbacks in that movie of them together. We picked up their relationship like that,
and it's still it didn't really add more to their dynamic. It was still like, yeah, they're fucking crazy and they murder people.
It's more, it felt like they were one thing I don't like is like when you go back, if you're in a franchise this long and you're going back to seeds from the beginning and like giving reasons, right? Like Tiffany calling the cops on Charles Lee. I didn't like that. I'm like, that didn't even need to be in there. There's no reason for it to be in there. I guess to maybe break them apart a little bit, but like they're broken apart by the end of every damn movie they're in together.
Yeah, he even says like, "What is this? The third time I'm killing you?"
There's like a lot. There's a lot of it. I'm glad that she finally got to kill him though.
Yeah,
chopped his head off. But I'm ready for Tiffany to take off on her own. I didn't like how she looked at the end. The doll looked a little funky. She didn't look like the one I remember. But I'm glad she showed up at the end because I was waiting for her doll. I was like, I want the Tiffany doll. I like the Tiffany doll so much better than Chucky. That's the fag in me.
I was gonna say, yeah, we're gay, so. I think Jennifer Tilly worked for me because, and I think I said this to you about like Hawkeye too. Like, I need the silly to balance the like. And like the kids, while they're kids, they were the serious characters. Like their parents were all being murdered. Like their story was more serious, and Jennifer Tilly was just like completely winking at the camera and chewing up every scene. Like she could be a character in House of Gucci. She was so ridiculous. But like, I don't think I've laughed as hard as I did when she sees Junior, and he's like, "I know you," and she says, "Aren't you a little young to have seen Bound?" Like,
God, yeah. So I've never seen Bound, and I went to her like filmography because I knew they're playing off. I love that they're playing off the actual Jennifer Tilly, right? I love that they do that. And when they introduce her in the last episode as Oscar-nominated actress and poker player, I'm like, that's so fucking good because that's her fucking life. And I
like that the running gag was that like no one cared that she was Jennifer Tilly.
Exactly. So on her filmography on Wikipedia, Bound isn't even listed there. I had to look up Bound on its own and find out what that movie was.
That was like the movie that made her famous. I feel.
I guess I don't know. I never saw it.
Well, you're a youth, and yeah, that movie was a big deal, and it's like a very big lesbian movie.
I'll have to watch it. Is it like anything like Wild Things?
No. It's like, I will say I don't think I've seen it since I was like 13, so it's been a very long time. But I remember being very like shook by how like kind of gay it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think it's like her and the woman from. Is it the woman from Showgirls who's opposite Elizabeth Berkley?
Oh my God, I can't tell you anybody who's in that movie. It's already left my brain except for the guy. Jennifer Tilly was my favorite of the whole thing. Like she just lightens up like every single time she's on camera, It's like she's having so much fun in this role. I love that she's an Oscar-nominated actress and she's doing something like this, right? Like she's not holding herself above it. Like Seed of Chucky is one of my favorite Chucky movies just because of how fucking ridiculous it is and how like they really play up the Jennifer Tilly role. And I like that they're doing that here. I wish they would have done it a little tiny bit more. But no, it was good. It was good. And then she shows up at the end, and I guess her contribution to the United States medical children's thing is giving 72 Chucky dolls out. And then she takes one, and she's like, the measly little sick children can like take care of themselves. Here, you can have this for a little girl. Like this bitch is fucking crazy, and I love it. I love it.
And you could just tell, like, it reminded me of like something recently that I would like compare it to is like Catherine Hahn in WandaVision. Cause like, you could tell like you have fun when the actor's playing a ridiculous role, but you can tell they're having fun. Right. Yeah. Like, and that's what it reminded me of. It was like very that, like, I was like, oh, she's having a good time.
Yeah, I think so. And then Chucky, like the Charles Lee Ray stuff, because you caught on that like his daughter was putting on like prosthetics to be him in the flashbacks, right?
Was it you that told me that? Someone told me that, and I hadn't realized that.
I saw it on I think it got spoiled for me. I think I saw it on Twitter before I actually watched the first time they did it. But you look at them side by side, they look exactly the fucking same. So it worked. It's weird. But it's so weird that like father and daughter are both like deeply entrenched in this franchise now equally. Yeah, Chucky's okay, I guess, in this. We got so many of them that I was trying to like put together the rules in my head. Like, do they all have the same memories? If they're all going and doing different things, do they all have the same memories? Because they didn't have the same feelings, and like Tiffany and like.
Wait, in X-Men, there's X Factor. There's a hero called Multiple Man. He's a mutant and he can replicate. And I felt like the rules of him applied to this, where like, say I'm Multiple Man, I replicate. That is still like, it's me, but it's like, it could have different, like, if it goes off, it could form different opinions. Like this character at one point in the Marvel universe, he like had so many different multiples of him. He had to have them all come together. And like, one of them was like a crazy conservative Christian. One of them was like a member of a cult. One of them was like a politician or some shit. And it was just like, once they're on their own, they can have their own experiences. And that's where they diverge. And I felt like that's what we were supposed to assume with Chucky too.
Okay. I can buy that. I can take that.
But so,
what do you think of Charles Lee Ray in this?
I mean, I think Chucky is so silly that I have trouble, like, I don't know, but I enjoy him. I don't know. I feel like when Jake is strangling him and he's like, I'm your friend, I killed your dad. And he's like, he didn't meet my boyfriend. He's like, that is so gay. I loved it.
Yeah. Because we have, like, in one of the first couple episodes, him like, I got a queer kid.
Gender fluid,
I'm on your side. It's like, he doesn't care about any of that. He's not any sort of ally or nothing. He's just out for Chucky. I go back and forth on whether I like a darker Chucky or, like, you know, the slapstick sort of, you know, Chucky that we are so used to now. But in this last episode, there were so many moments where, like, the camera would go in on his face and like he looked fucking like sinister as fuck.
Yeah.
Like he looked dark. And it kind of reminded
me. In that movie theater he did, yeah.
I hope that they kind of play that up a little bit more. Cause like we get the slapstick Chucky already. Like I get it. Love it. But I do want like a darker Chucky going into the next one a little bit. The movie theater part, let's talk about that for a second. That was fucking wild. Would they have died? They're just getting a knife rammed up their rectum, right? Like it's,
I was also because like depending on where he's stabbing you, like yeah, it would be terrible. But like in your like butt or your thigh or like even in your crotch, like I don't know that would kill you, right?
If you stab me in my dick, I might as well be dead. I'm just gonna lay there, just be like, I'm done.
Because like with the dad, I was like, oh, he probably stabbed him like in the back or like whatever. But it was like. Oh.
I think it was just like everybody was getting stabbed through the seat. I almost wanted him to like start slashing like legs and shit like that and just like fucking going like this wild animal on the floor and everybody. I did like the whole chaos of all of that and everybody running and them like knocking out the mayor. I thought something was going to happen with that. I thought he was going to go for her and then they like didn't do anything there.
Like, because they were running in that theater and I was like, oh, we're going to see her dead or see something. But then like the kids don't even notice her.
And she was getting trampled. The little girl was just sitting there wanting to watch the movie the whole time. Let me tell you, that little girl was a sociopath before Chucky ever showed up. She was going to do that on her own.
She really was.
Yes. Like, she was the only sane one in that family, which was insane.
Yeah, and because I kept thinking, I thought the mayor mom would have like a big grand death. I was kind of surprised that she didn't, but I guess Chucky kind of does that, right? The series has always done that where like the nice character is the one that gets murdered. Mm-hmm. It's like the dad dying made more sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of dark humor in it, you know. And I think they also have to have characters that can go into the next season, right? They have to have been planning for another season. So, and there is one, by the way, guys, coming out. Season 2 has been announced. So that'll be coming out in 2022. And I guess, so though, I'm kind of glad that the mayor's going to be going into that one because she's like, I don't hate her enough that I want her to like die. Like when Lexi came out just like his dad getting electrocuted, I wanted her ass fucking dead. I hated her ass. But like the mayor never, like the mayor was a bitch. She was written as the bitch and we like knew that. And so it wasn't, it wasn't anything. She wasn't doing like really cruel things like, setting up a GoFundMe, like passive aggressively,
right.
Shitting on this kid. Like I hated stuff like that. So I'll be happy to see her in the next one.
And you're right. Like, it's like, she was just kind of like an asshole, but she wasn't like evil. Like she was just,
well, she's a terrible person. Yeah. And she is probably evil and stuff like that. But like, she's kind of in your face about it so much that it's like, we know that it's not anything that we're like rooting for this character to die. I didn't care if she lived or died in this last one.
I will say, so like a thing that that I love is like a Cordelia Chase, like nuanced Mean Girl.
Don't even compare them yet.
Well, excuse me. And that's what I wish they had been able to do with either the mom or Lexi. Like I wish we had, I mean, by the end, I do agree with you. We liked Lexi by the end. She was, I was happy when like the like boyfriends are hugging and they like bring her in. Like I was like, oh, she's definitely like, it's the three of them. But I wish we had a little bit more, even like Margot and I Know What You Did Last Summer, like a little bit more to like the mean girl than just like, because Lexi seemed to shift from straight up just terrible to like, okay, now she's friends. And the mom was just kind of like generic terrible. And I wish there would have been a little bit more like Cordelia Chase of it all, where it's like, oh, but actually we see that they have a heart, not just like a shift in character, but like they're still kind of mean. Like if Lexi had stayed kind of like biting, but like then was like, okay, but these are my friends.
Yeah, because they started her out pretty okay. Like the only common ground they had was like this killer doll like is actually trying to kill everybody, and like they can't let that happen. They're like, we're the only two people that know it, the only three people that know it. We have to do something. But then there was like one moment that came like so aggressively fast when they were saying, yeah, we're your chosen family now. I'm like, oh, okay, come on now. Yeah. Come on. We're not at that status yet. We haven't earned that. We haven't like built up to that. Because even Cordelia Chase, right? Like she had her common ground moments with the Scooby Gang, but then, was still shitting on them and like still like there was still like a division for still a little while.
Didn't like them
until she was fully in the fold. And that wasn't even until like, I would say like season 3, she wasn't fully Scooby until then. But then here we have like they're hunting a doll together and then their chosen family, like very next episode. I'm like, didn't earn that. Didn't
like we could have earned it by the end when they're hugging at the cemetery, maybe. But even then, I don't know. But also they're like 14.
Yeah, very true, very true. We have to remember that. In this last episode, they even still like referred to like, I don't know, the fact that Jake wanted to kill Lexi, like wanted her dead. And I'm like, yeah, we should have been getting more of that throughout it because that's not a small thing, Like Lexi should have been watching her back a little bit, Even though she's a shit person, it's still like, calm
like
down.
You plotted my murder, so I'm not going to let you forget that.
Yeah, like Jake, when you're choking Chucky, who are you seeing? Who do you see?
If you tried to plot my murder, I would bring it up every single recording.
Oh my gosh, Ian, just leave it in the past, please.
Yeah, I know. It was a month ago, Ian. Let it go.
Yeah, so that was no small thing, but it even in the end, I can let all of that go. I liked the trio. I liked that Devin. When the house blew up, I couldn't remember, like, it was so quick that I couldn't remember who was in the house still. So I was like, Devin can't be dead, because then they cut to morning, and I'm like, morning? Is it confirmed that he's dead now? Like, what's happening with that? And they were playing that sad music, and
I will admit, so I got a little emotional when they had their like reunion. I was like, but only because I just like I kept going back to like, and I mean, you said this at the top. It's just like we haven't ever seen a horror, especially like a legacy horror, where like the main character is gay and like has a boyfriend. Like, I can't think of a time when I've seen that in, I mean, Halloween Kills aside, like two gay characters who like, yes, they're in love, and like that's like not the main story, but it's like part of the story, and it was just really nice to see.
It worked so perfect too, because
it did,
I will even go as far as to say, like, this is a first of its kind, really. Like, they're doing something very original here that shouldn't even be that original, like this is the main character, and they are like That wasn't even their first kiss, right? They didn't even save the first kiss until like the finale.
Right.
They kissed before. We got relationship building. And whether they're in like puppy love or whatever, like I like seeing a sort of, young gay relationship too, right? Like it's not even something that they had to kind of go through their, points of self-loathing and then like come out and accept that they're gay. And, they kind of both already do accept that they're gay. They get shit on for it. There's jokes made and stuff like that. And that's just real life. But, at the end of the day, they are okay with themselves. And it seems like that.
Yeah, and I know what I mean?
They have other things to worry about, but...
Right, yeah. I guess when there's a killer doll on the loose, murdering your family one by one. But I do think there's an importance in all, like, I'm not one of, and I know you're not either, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, this gay story isn't like mine, so I don't like it. Like, I think there is an importance to, like, something like Love, Simon or Love, Victor, where it is, they're like, they have the turmoil, but it's also important to, like, see that sometimes, especially younger kids, like, and especially Devin, like, I thought I was like, are they the same age? They are. Just, there's that awkward teen thing where, like, sometimes you hit puberty first, so you look a little older. I like that they looked younger, and it was not, like you said, they were, like, preteen teens, but, like, that was, we don't often see them looking that young and, like, kissing and, like,
I think it's very important. It's not, I mean, it's nice for us, right, to see it, but it's much more important for kids who maybe are still in high school. Like, so much more important for them because it is showing, like, even them separately, they were still okay with themselves, right? Like, they just kind of deal with the shit that's kind of flung at them, but, like, the overall message is, like, you're okay, though, Like, somebody gets onto you for being gay, somebody makes a joke at you, they were still fine. They were still going through it. Like, I mean, Jake had a harder time, but, Devin was, like, kind of a well-rounded character, I thought. And I thought the actor of Devin was probably the best in the show. Like, he was so subtly, like, just normal and, like acted like a real person, right? I wonder if they're all, like, about the same age or if any of them are, an over 18.
I think I looked because I thought Jake looked way older than Devin, but I think they all are 14 or 15, like, in real life.
I love that, too. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Me too.
Yeah, they're very real. But I don't know, what else do we have here?
Well, I think that's maybe the, like, issue you and I had, that even though we liked the series, like, those kids felt real, but, like, everything else felt so, like, not, like, so, like, bombastic.
And you didn't need that balance. And and I guess there were a couple ways to do the balancing. They're, set up at the beginning of the season and then introduce all the craziness towards middle to end. And then the other way to do it, I think, would have been just to, like, again, like, introduce those little pockets of story for everybody, and then that is balanced, like, throughout. I think I would have preferred that. Yeah. But I'm happy with how it kind of went.
Yeah. I mean, we still overall liked it. And I think I'm excited for season 2, and I think I'm glad Andy didn't die, because, I mean, you know how I feel about bringing back a final character to kill them. I hope that was a sister's hand. I hope the sister's not dead. But the thing I kept going back to when I was, like, getting towards the end, I'm like, all right, Andy's alive, Devin's alive. Literally, that headline said fatalities confirmed. Yeah. So, like, what bodies did they find? Even if it's just the sister, that's one fatality.
And I feel like there would have been some sort of press release, or, like, do you not call the hospital to see if anybody's been brought in, or, what's happening there, right? I don't know.
I also did I tell you that Hackensack is, like, where my family lives in Jersey?
I thought Hackensack was fake.
Nope, it's a real town in New Jersey. That's crazy. Literally where my family lives, because we live more south, and all the rest of the family lives more north. And yeah, like, my brother lives a town over from Hackensack.
There's nobody with a Jersey accent. I'm disappointed.
Excuse me, what's a Jersey accent sound like?
This doll is fucking killing all of us, huh?
That's not how I talk.
Fucking water.
All right, that's how I talk.
My mother. You're talking about my mother right now, right?
Every time they said water in Mayor of Easttown, I was like, damn it, that's how I say it.
Murder. Somebody murdered my dirter. It's like, that was real hard.
I never thought I had an accent till I moved to New York, and, like, everyone was like, "Ooh, your Jersey accent." And I was like,
I'm going to the Wawa.
Although some people have told, Adam Strawn told me that my mom's Jersey accent is really thick in the recordings.
Oh, really?
With her. Yeah.
I'm going to be seeing Adam Strawn on Monday or Tuesday, one of those days.
I'm already jealous.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not going to be able to do much with him, though, because it's like Alistair's working. It's during the week, so we can only go like have dinner with him, which sucks. I wanted to like go out with him, like go and do the bars and shit like that. But
also, I don't have to get too jealous then.
No, not too jealous. Y'all will be the ones getting all crazy and wild and ratchet. What else we got on Chucky? What else did you want to talk about?
Oh, I noticed for the finale, and I don't think they did this before, and I thought it was the little girl's voice, but it couldn't have been. They said previously on fucking Chucky.
Oh my! It like caught me so off guard.
I literally wrote that down
because I usually use the recap to kind of like get situated and stuff. And Alistair was in the kitchen, and we were both walking to like our chairs, and it just like it was like in the first like 3 seconds. Previously on fucking Chucky. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
fucking Chucky.
That was like I was like, okay, I gotta bring that up. I like wrote it down because I didn't take notes because I was like trying to speed watch, but I wrote it down on my to-do list that's written on a printed out piece of paper that had other things on it because I wanted to bring that up. I don't think there's anything else.
What do you want from season 2?
I don't know. See, like season 2 feels like there's so many threads, but okay. A thing I was thinking about. I kind of want season 2 to almost be like, we can have these kids, but I don't want them. I kind of want like, and they did leave it open that it could be this, where it's like, we get each season is like a Chucky with in a different town or a Chucky with a different family. And like, you know, maybe we go back to these kids the way we like went back to Andy and whatever, but like, I don't need it to be Chucky's back in Hackensack. Like, I think it can be Chucky is in Texas or Oklahoma.
Oh, gosh. Send them over here. Okay. Everybody's got guns here. I love that he said, like, I don't like guns. I don't like axes. I don't like just anything that he's been taken out with before. Yeah, I don't really want to see Chucky, like, all over the place. Like, I get that that's kind of where they're going to probably go, right? With 72 Chuckies, we're going to see so many different threads. I just feel like then that feels like American Horror Stories, you know? Like, and I don't want something like that. I want our central storyline at least to be these kids. I think they've earned it. I think that they're worth it. You know, they're a little trio. Also, you know, I'd like Jake to be investigated a little bit. It is a little fishy. His whole family is dead now.
Right, his entire family.
So let's investigate him a little bit. I know he is not a murderer. Hackensack don't. So a little bit of like an investigation there. Also, we didn't address Devin's mother's murder. He was pretty okay with it.
I know. I felt
no funeral for her.
I felt like he was what I felt most bad for, because it's like, ugh, he didn't even do anything, and like he had a good mom. Like his mom liked him,
and she like, you know, let him decorate his room all cool, and like she would come in and like talk to him and sit on his bed, and they like gave us no sort of closure with that. That was weird. It also felt like there was more build up to the sort of investigation. Didn't it feel like she knew something more than
right? It felt
she
like
was leading on, like she knew about the Chucky dolls, but then that was never explored, ever. Like, what did she know? And where did she get her information?
Yeah, we did just kind of drop that storyline. And like, that felt to me almost the junior's mom's death felt like maybe the cruelest death, but like the cop mom getting murdered in front of her son, who like, these characters were like pure and good, felt like the meanest almost.
It did. And so there's not a whole lot of investigative work that needs to go into season 2. Like, we get it. We know the whole Chucky thing. And I feel like with every new character, they have to figure it out. And I don't really want to go back into like the one person knows Chucky's alive and nobody believes them, right? I don't want to go back into that. I think that has been so played in this franchise over and over and over again that we gotta get a little wild with it. Get a little crazy. Bring back Caroline. Make her fucking ballistically crazy little girl, you know? Make like she's slashing throats in the mental hospital or something. Like something crazy. But I do want to like
I don't know. For me, I'm just like, I don't want these kids facing Chucky. Like, how many times can it be the three of them facing Chucky is how I feel.
Because I don't feel like it would just be them three. I think they would probably team up with Andy. Glenn and Glenda have to come back into it. See, Glenn and Glenda would be a good sort of new plot line because Glenda was the evil one, Glenn was the good one, and they can kind of have their little back and forth. I almost wish Junior would have lived and continued into season 2 as kind of a maniac, you know? Yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways they could go with this. I'm very curious to know how they're going to go.
I did think they were going to... Have they? Because, like, again, I haven't revisited Chucky movies in a long time. The thing, I forget what the word it was, the Umbaba or whatever, the, like, spirit thingy that Chucky worships.
Oh, Adue Dumbala, something like that. Yeah.
Because it was weird how suddenly when he was like yelling at Jake that he's like, "Oh, that's blasphemous! You don't like whatever." And I was like, "Man, he's never said this before."
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we were gonna maybe do something with that, but
there was a lot of things that they I thought they were gonna do more with, and they didn't really. I did think Nika's sort of ending was the most shocking and crazy.
Yes. Okay, but my first thought was, okay, but like, doesn't Jennifer Tilly want to get fingered? Like, why is she cutting off those hands?
I don't know. I think she's just fucking crazy. I think that's the extent of it. I think she's wild. She's just like wants her there and doesn't want her to run away or hit back.
Right.
So she's there.
That was maybe the meanest thing the show did, right? Because like Nika got no justice whatsoever.
And she didn't really even have her own, like, sort of fight back scene where she, like, maybe had a whole moment to, like, save a child or, like, do something.
Which
crazy.
I thought...
She just kept waking up and trying to crawl a couple feet and then, like, getting hit or something.
Yeah. Or stabbed.
You think she's going to get any, like, bionic arms or legs or something?
But that's what I was wondering, because I'm like, Nika has to eventually have her good, like, get back, right? Like, she has to have, like, a scene where it's like, nope, she fought back and she won, but like, what?
It's like, why is she still there if you're not going to let her do anything? Otherwise, just kill her, because she was so strong in like the first 2 movies. You know, she was the heroine. She was doing things. So
yeah, that's what I like. I thought it would be she saves the kids and maybe she dies that way, or like lives. But she didn't save the kids. She did nothing, and then her arms and legs got chopped off.
Yeah.
That's like me getting my arms and legs. I don't do anything either. I don't chop my arms and legs off.
Well, we won't do that. I would have to wait on you hand and foot. I don't want to do all that.
You would, and you would hate it.
Just stay. I know, and you could just you're fine. Okay. I don't know. What do you guys want to see from season 2 of Chucky the TV series? I bet it'll come by like summer, or I guess October again, right?
Probably, yeah.
I like that it wasn't all centered right around Halloween. They kind of like kept up with the dates.
Yeah. Because the Halloween episode was what, like episode 2?
It was pretty quick. It was pretty quick. Where can everybody find you, Ian?
You can find us in Slayerfest 98's podcast feed, which is on iTunes, or damn it. You can find us on Slayerfest 98. Damn it, sorry.
I haven't done this in a little while.
I know.
Okay, keep going.
You can find us in Slayerfest 98's podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can find us on social media at SlayerFestX98, where we post all of our episodes and some horror memes. And where can they find the videos for My Bloody Judy, Zachary?
Videos for My Bloody Judy will be on youtube.com/ACB bonus features. There's also some other cool content on there, so go check it out. Give it a subscribe. And
subscribe to Slayerfest too. And give us a good rating.
Yeah, oh yes, a 5-star rating is helpful, and a little comment, a little nice comment, right? And we thank you guys so much for listening, and have a great rest of your night.
Bye.